Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Catholic Spotlight, and joining me today are Augusto Bitter and Jessie McLaughlin, who are members of the Eucharistic Adoration Ministry at St. Michael Catholic Community in Calgary. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you, Mario.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to talk about adoration, and let's start. And maybe Augusto, you can start off with this. Talk a little bit about when we talk about the Blessed Sacrament and why we go there and before it. Uh, can you explain that a little bit as a Catholic?
Okay. Let's make it brief if possible, but Jesus told us that he would be with us until the end of times. And how he decided to do that, the Gospel of John, chapter 6, is very clear. The Gospel talks about the Eucharist, and Jesus explained his idea, and he decided to stay with us in the forms of bread and wine that are really his body and his blood. And he decided about that, and the church has been following that after, celebrating the Eucharist, where bread and wine are really converted. Transubstantiated is the really technical word, or the proper liturgical word, that is converted into the real body of Christ and the real blood of Christ. And which is something amazing, I would say. It's a miracle for me every time, when you can really have the presence of God Himself with us in the Eucharist. So any body of Christ, any bread that is left, the church keeps that. And nowadays it used to be like a formal bread, but now it's in the forms of host, which is what we receive in Holy Communion.
Hmm.
Those bread, or really the body of Christ, are maintained in a little, I don't have really a good technical word, but a little box, or a little container, which is called the tabernacle. Okay,
Yeah.
they are located in the main sanctuaries of every Catholic church, or in separate small chapels called the Blessed Sacrament Chapel. So they are there, and being God, as I said, God Himself there, it is amazing. We have that blessing to go there and actually adore Jesus, talk to Jesus, pour our hearts, our minds to Him, and said, "Okay, here I am." I find that it's like maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's like having a little heaven with us every day, anytime we want. It's
Yeah.
there 24/7 for us, and that's really beautiful. And the church really has really opened that for everyone, and that's what we call adoration. Go to the Blessed Sacrament and talk with Jesus with all our heart.
Now, Jesse, can you talk a little bit about what exactly St. Michael has in terms of for adoration and yeah, maybe explain a little bit about what's at St. Mike's.
Yeah, we are very blessed that we have the Blessed Sacrament Chapel at St. Michael's, which is a separate room that was designed for that purpose of having the tabernacle in it, where the Blessed Sacrament is present. And we are so blessed that we are able to go into St. Michael's anytime it's open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, and we can visit with Jesus in that Blessed Sacrament Chapel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's, when we talk about adoration, and maybe I'll ask both of you this question, but let's start with Augusto. What does it mean? Uh, when we talk of like adoration, like what does that actually mean in terms of what you're doing there?
Okay, yeah, that is a very valid question, Mario, and for me, this question is linked to the previous one. You keep the flow of info. Again, in relation to having God Himself there present, what we call adoration, or what we invite people to go to adoration, is that we say we invite people go to in the presence of God and talk about Him. Adore means praising Him. I mean, adoration is really telling Jesus how good He is, or how much I want He to be with us. Or, I mean, obviously, we're human beings, and I'm sure every day when we go to the Blessed Sacrament, I always say that we carry a big black sack in our backs, like we full of concerns, worries,
Yeah.
or joys as well. But we can really put that over in the feet of Jesus or in the presence of Jesus, say, okay, I'm gonna get that off for now, and just tell you how much I love you and how much I need you, how much I need you come to me and receive your love. That is really what adoration is, and interesting thing is that a lot of people, when you go to the Blessed Sacrament Chapel, are in silent prayer or are with their eyes closed. So when you go there, sometimes if you haven't been there before, you feel what's going on here. Nobody's talking, nobody's doing anything, and
Yeah,
just this. Because, by the way, typically in adoration, the church takes one large host, and put in what is called a monstrance, which is really in order to make visible to people a host, which is Jesus Christ. Obviously, it's a piece of bread what you see, but knowing by faith that Jesus is there, then it's easier just to start really talking and saying. And obviously, it's a process that takes time, Mario, because the very first time you go over there and you are confused, you don't know what to do. But then little by little,
yeah,
Jesus himself is guiding you and telling you exactly where to go and what to do and what to
yeah,
say.
yeah,
And
Mhm.
yeah,
I mean, amazingly, you will find peace, you will find joy,
mm,
and you feel like that black sack is lighter.
yeah, yeah,
You will take it back with you, but it's lighter.
yeah. No, I hear you. So, Jesse, tell me, you what kind of things I guess you can do in terms of I guess the process
Oh,
of being there.
yeah.
What I think, a lot of people get maybe not scared, but kind of reluctant because they're thinking, oh, we got to
Yeah.
do this, and this. Give us a rundown of the types of things people can do when they're in that room.
Sure. And I think what you're really hitting on is why I love Eucharistic adoration as a form of prayer, because it is very flexible. Um, I know I was very intimidated the first time I went in because for all of those reasons, I don't know exactly what to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah,
Is there a process? Is there something specific? And the answer really is no. Um, what I love about it is that some days I go in and I acknowledge Jesus. First thing I always either genuflect or bow, and I can
yeah,
say, "I acknowledge you, Jesus, present in the Blessed Sacrament." Um, and and then you can sit, you can kneel in prayer, you can do silent prayer, you can read the Bible, you can meditate on His Word, you can do a whole bunch of things. You
yeah,
spend your hour with Jesus as if you are talking with a friend. And some days it's going to look one way, and some days it might look a different way. Or there might be different things that you do within however long that period of time is that
Mm.
that you're there for.
yeah.
So that's why I like it, is because there is such flexibility, and you can approach Jesus with whatever you have to bring that day.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. So, go ahead, Augusto.
Just a quick thing. Everything that Jesse said is exactly as it is, but there are some guidelines that you can use just for starters. Okay, you have
Yeah.
guidelines that they will help you to go through the process, but that's enough. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So an old friend of mine, years ago told me, he says to me one day, he said, spending an hour in front of the Blessed Sacrament is the best hour you would have in your whole week. Let me ask you both, to start with Augusto, about your experiences doing this. What do you get um, uh, uh, from on a personal side, but also on your faith side of sitting in front of the Blessed Sacrament?
Yeah, what that comment that your friend made is something that I always repeat, the hour or maybe in the Blessed Sacrament every week is really the anchor of my week. I need that in order to move forward, in order to have peace, internal peace, and actually to have better clarity. Because I mean, if we have been prepared professionally, we have a lot of tools, in order to manage our time, in order to manage our tasks and all that, and we can do that, right? However, that is one thing. The other thing is spiritually and internally. We can be really CEOs of companies and run, multimillionaires companies, but then, you know, peace, when we talk internal peace and feeling and experiencing the love of God, that is a complete different experience.
Mm.
As I said, when you start, you are kind of sometimes lost, but little by little, you can get some guidelines and see so some prayers, and you follow that. And it has been a journey for me throughout years, many, many years, and I've been kind of getting or increasing by the grace of God, increasing the love of Jesus. I need to go more. I need more time. I need a little bit of more time. And sometimes I says, oh, I need to tell Jesus this or that. There are some guidelines that say the very first time you just adore Jesus, tell him how great he is and how much how great his love is.
Yeah.
And you can start really talking about what you have. But then, but the interesting thing, Mario, is that um, maybe we can talk later about some experiences of saints, but then some people feel really the presence of God Himself. Sometimes
Mm.
I was talking to other people and said you have to open your eyes and you see some faces that obviously have some concern in their faces, because they have some probably worries that are kind of putting that in the hands of Jesus. But sometimes you see faces, Mario, that you see this person is in heaven, has a lot of joy, a peaceful smile that you can, when you see that the first time, I say, Lord, I want that. I
Mm.
want to feel your presence. I want that. And
Yeah.
then, and that's why it says at some point you feel like, I said, that sack that you came with, it's lighter, and you can go with the assurance that God is with you. God
Mm.
loves you and is with you and will be the rest of the week. And will give you that really, let's say, um, I want to say fuel, but fuel is not the right word. To go back to Him any time during the week, because we're human beings, and we are beaten every day and every time, by many things. But you can come, or you can, in the peaceful of your home and heart, and say, Lord, again, I want just to remember the presence that I have with you, and again, put everything in your hands. Praise you
Mhm.
and give you thanks, first of all, for everything you have. Sorry, you have for me. Okay,
Yeah.
that's again in kind of in a brief way.
Okay. That's Jesse. What about you from a personal standpoint, the experience that you get going to this Blessed Sacrament?
Well, I think everything that Augusto said is is for me as well. Um, I think for me, um, there have been times where there's a lot. You're going through a lot, and there's some heavy burdens. And what I find is, whether it is one of those times or whether it's not, it's a place of rest where I can just rest with Jesus, and He gives me rest. And sometimes, I often go back to. Um, there's that famous quote. I don't know who exactly it's attributed to. I think it's a few people have said it, but someone was asked what they do in adoration, and they said, "Well, I look at Him and He looks at me." And sometimes it's just that simple, and
Yeah.
and it's just that relationship of, you can spend time with someone, and you don't need to say anything at all. Sometimes you can just
Yeah.
look at each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, we live obviously in a very busy world, noisy world, right? And where
Mhm.
silence is at a premium, and people don't know what to be silent. Like, so it's a challenge for people our age, to be silent for
Mhm.
any period of time. Let's talk about youth. It's got to be even bigger challenge for them. What, how do we get youth to become involved in this and in the adoration of the Blessed Sacrament? And why should they? Augusto, let's start off with.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very important question because whatever applies to youth probably apply to adults as well, because nowadays
Yeah.
we have a cell phone and the cell phone is ping, 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 ping all the time, and we are really tempted to look at that all the time.
Yeah.
Uh, and the first thing that we should do is just put it off so that we try to concentrate. Okay, and just as a and if we have really issues, going silent, we really use a guideline, I mean, one thing that helped me a lot was 15 minutes in company of sacramented Jesus. That's really something that guided me to go there, And when I was really a teenager, or even a kid, I used to go with my dad, my mom and dad, and I was there in holy hours, and it was okay, I had a good time. But then later, yeah, as an adult, that I started to go, and I being a teenager, I kind of hear other people leading a holy hour, trying to lead me to go through my issues, through my issues, because we have issues. I mean, as a teenager, you are bombarded nowadays worse than before,
Much more. Yeah.
Yeah.
it is important that you have talked to someone before you go to the Blessed Sacrament. If you are a teenager, that would like to go, because if you go there at the very beginning, you will be probably kind of a lost maybe. But as a teenager, you have so many stakes, that are really bombarding you. And then going there, if we have talked about that, you know that you have many doubts, many concerns, many things that are really, is it true? Is it worth to be here? What am I doing here? But again, a guideline is very important. You need to start reading something that will guide you through, and then through that, you will go into the right presence of Jesus. Because what is important is that Jesse said, I look at him, he look at me. He is my friend. And those guys will explain you how to consider Jesus my best friend. We have this best friend, and youth as well. They have this best buddy, that they can talk about anything. Well, Jesus is there for you. But it's a process, Mario. It's not really something that you go and
No.
happen like this. It in my case has been a journey for more than 30 years, and it's still something that you discover every day. But
Yeah.
it is important, the question for youth, because it's I would like really my kids as well to really do what I do, and they do a little bit of that, but I feel like they are too distracted with so many things,
Yeah.
and it's hard for them to go and realize, oh my God, God is there waiting for me. It's
Yeah.
not easy. We need to
So,
pray.
yeah. So, Jesse, how do we get youth involved?
Hmm. Oh, that's a great question. I mean, invitation firstly, I guess. And there's a few things that we're working on as a parish and as a group to encourage youth to come and to visit. Um, on a personal note, during the summer, it was beautiful. We have exposition on Friday nights until 8 p.m. And I
Okay.
was very blessed that I had three of my godchildren visiting, and I was able to bring them and expose them to Jesus in the Eucharist, in the Blessed Sacrament Chapel, in the monstrance, and it was lovely to have them come, and it wasn't for that long. And I think that's one thing that youth, can kind of become intimidating too, is that even if it's just for a few minutes,
Yeah.
to come in and say hi, and just take those few moments of silence and peace,
Yeah.
and calm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important, right? Because initially they say 1 hour may sound overwhelming to
Mhm.
to anybody, really, right? Oh, I'm going to take an hour out of my day and I'm going to be silent. No chance, right? But to even at little bits at a time is extremely important. Now,
Mhm.
uh, St. Michael's has got an event coming up, October 25th, I believe. Tell me about that and how it relates to this.
Yeah, October 25th. So that's our family adoration. That'll be at 10 o'clock in the morning on that day. It's a Saturday. So all families are invited with children of all ages. And yeah, we're really excited to be able to have a holy hour. And again, families are welcome to come at any time. It'll be children bring such a lively spirit to the church, and so we want that with adoration as well. And so that's our goal, is to make everyone feel welcome and be able to adore Jesus together.
Okay, wonderful. Augusto.
I know that probably it's not easy for families to say what I'm going to do with my kids, my children, 2 years old, 5 years old, that they want to really be running around. We know that, but we
Yeah,
like that. I mean,
Yeah.
we want they to be themselves, you know.
Yeah.
So well, that's why we're going to be doing that in the main sanctuary, but there is a space. And even if they really run, that's the way to adore Jesus, you know. So it's going to be a beautiful time, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure that Jesus won't mind. As he said, I imagine all the children that came to Jesus as in his time weren't all just sitting there quietly, right?
You said it, Mario. Yes, yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that either one of you wanted to mention?
Maybe some experiences, Jesse, about that we have been following what some saints have been telling us, you know.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
talk a little bit about that. You mentioned that earlier, Augusto.
yeah.
What experiences some of the saints have had by doing the adoration. Uh, Go ahead.
Yeah, and well, we have so many saints. Even Augusto and I were just speaking about this that recently, recent saints that have such a devotion to the Eucharist that is just so incredibly inspiring. A few that you know we think about. Padre Pio, for instance, had a
Mhm.
profound dedication to the Eucharist. Um, Gemma Galgani is not necessarily a very well-known saint, but she
Mhm.
was an Italian mystic. She was also a layperson. At right around the turn of the century, she had a lot of health issues, but a lot of her mystical experiences were tied back to her time that she spent in Eucharistic adoration,
Mm.
in adoration of the Blessed Sacrament.
Yeah,
Of course, there's also Carlo Acutis. I mean, he's our most recent millennial saint.
yeah, yeah.
And his dedication and his commitment to the Eucharist as well, through the Eucharistic Miracles website, of course, and his daily. He participated in daily mass and daily Eucharistic adoration. Saint Teresa of Calcutta. I mean, of course, I know she took a lot of her strength, she said, from
Mm.
from that time that she would spend,
Yeah.
hours in front of the Blessed Sacrament and encouraging her sisters to do the same. And that was what she needed to give her the strength for her compassion and her service to others and the poor. And Saint Pope John Paul II as well, just
Mm.
an amazing dedication to the
Yeah,
Eucharist.
yeah.
Yeah, making time, no matter where he was, what he was doing, to spend time with Jesus in the
Mhm.
Blessed Sacrament. So yeah, lots of inspiration that we can take.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, and Gusto?
Just one thing. There has been many miracles, you know, throughout the history of the church with the Blessed Sacrament present. You know that during consecration, you know, the host has been really bleeding, which is
Yeah.
amazing. I don't want to really talk too much about that, you know, but there are testimonies, and Carlo Curis that Jesse just mentioned. He dedicated his short life, 15 years only, you know, to actually compile all those miracles, and the information is available in internet, and you can see the congruency in all those miracles, you know, in relation to leading us to know, wow, this is real.
Mm.
Jesus is there, and his blood is real. And
Yeah.
it's so it's just another piece of information that is too much to be getting into detail right now, you know, but it's anyway, it's another important thing to mention.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks so much, both of you, for taking the time.
Well,
Thank you, Mario.
you for taking the time to talk to us, you know.
Okay, wonderful. That was Gusto Bitter and Jessie McLaughlin, who are members of the Eucharistic Adoration Ministry at St. Michael Catholic Community in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Catholic Spotlight. Thanks for joining us today.